Okay, here we go with a quick run through of the speech for the DEA, just to make sure that everything seems to be okay and I can get my mouth around words. Right. Hi, good morning. My name's Wayne and I'm a 61-year-old mixed dementia carrier, which involves having a bit of Alzheimer's disease and a bit of vascular dementia thrown in as well to add variety to an already pretty random existence. In general, my most problematic issues are with the vascular dementia rather than the Alzheimer's disease side. And it's not really meant as a joke, but at times I think I actually forget that I've got Alzheimer's, as it's mostly the vascular that gives me the noticeable problems. I'm using the word carrier today about the dementia. I would usually, or my preference would be to use the word sufferer, but we're not supposed to use that word nowadays. A rule presumably created by someone not living with dementia. Well, I'd say to that, spend a few days living in my life and then decide whether or not I am a sufferer. Okay, that's enough of debating trivial definitions. That's not why we're here today. My understanding of why we are here today is to try and help give insight into the local world of dementia through the eyes of people living with dementia. Oh yeah, just another brief sidetrack about the idea of living with dementia. That's another one of my gripes in that it creates an impression of living together. And if you're living with someone or something you don't like, you get up and leave, or divorce, or throw them out. Well, I tried that with the dementia, but like some manic stalker, it just followed me. Sorry, I'm getting a bit easily sidetracked. I'll try and stay on course. So, what do I want to talk about this morning? Firstly, just to say thank you to all of you and the DAA for giving me, just an ordinary Medway resident, the chance to talk, to speak to you, with you, on behalf of the many people living with dementia that I meet on my daily travels around Dementia Land. They are often people no longer communicating very well, people I meet at the various clubs, groups, and sessions that I attend. So, from us all, thank you. Thank you for giving such a wonderful opportunity to try and make a little bit of difference to the world's understanding of dementia and hopefully entertain you a bit along the way. I also want to say that although I may appear calm, that's just a big act. In my past lives, I'd been used to public speaking and sort of performing in classrooms, and once did a sales talk to over 1,500 people at Wembley Conference Centre. But that was about products, and the audience were all hidden out there in the vast darkness. Here I can see you all, and it's an even bigger deal is that this is about me, a very different and bigger issue. But it's also about a personal passion, changing attitudes towards dementia and helping people become more aware of it. So this really means something special to me. Another thing is that I've written all this down because otherwise I'd stray off track and we'd be here all day. Oh yeah, yeah, we are here all day, so I guess it doesn't matter if I go verbal wandering. So, as I said, I'm Wayne, but I'm also quite well known across the internet and Dementia Land as Tutor. I am 61 years young and fitter and healthier than ever before, and if I could just fix my dementia-addled brain, all would be well. I'm planning to talk with you about some of the weird and trippy experiences and feelings that I now live with on my journeys through Dementia Land. I say planning to, as I have this script which requires me to read it and then understand it, and then after reading it and understanding it, I have to follow it on here. And on top of all of that, I have to deliver it. You're all wonderfully skilled people who easily do all these things at the same time and don't even think about it. To me, they are separate and complicated set of events which can and sometimes do defeat me. And just to confuse the matter even more, I was never very good at those regimented things like sticking to a script anyway, so preferring to ad lib as that feels more honest and accurate at the time. But let's just see how we go. I'll just add another quick warning. Because I have vascular dementia as well as other stuff, I'm prone to what is called an ever lowering social filtering system, which means you could potentially be subject to me just saying something without properly thinking about it, like telling you to shut up because I'm talking, but I wouldn't really mean that. Well, maybe I would. Anyway, beware. And now I suppose a bit about my past, my background, my journey and the games I have with dementia, but not too much as I find that rather boring as I've heard it all before. My background was in the IT industry with some fairly high level jobs in high power companies, which ate about 20 years of life. And then, wanting more people contact, I moved across into sales, still in the computer industry, and again with some fairly leading edge companies. After a while of that, and feeling ever more disgruntled by the IT industry, and having found I enjoyed the buzz of training people and working closely with them in a teaching and learning environment, I moved into teaching where it felt like I had finally found my true love and vocation. I got qualified and moved through teaching from private junior school, state secondary, technical colleges, and on to lecturing in business and IT at degree level, and also spent a good deal of time carrying out private tuition with adults that could not or did not feel comfortable in classroom environment. Some time ago, one lady with MS asked if God sent his angels to me for patience training, as I seemed to always be so calm and clear, no matter how many hundreds of times we had to redo something. I was very good at teaching, and under the right circumstances now, I believe I still am. During the decade from 2002, life kind of got a bit out of hand. I spent 2 years stressing and working too hard, constantly burning the candle at both ends and in the middle, which resulted in a very major, almost fatal heart attack in 2004. 6 months in convalescence, recovering, then back to work, but now having picked up a major underactive thyroid problem, causing me to fall asleep every 6 hours. The college and I and family were able to work around this for a while, but other things were starting to go wrong. I was not quite myself, not sure exactly what that meant, but I didn't feel quite comfortable in my own skin, living my own life, but could not really grasp what was going on. Other big issues over the 4 years after my heart attack included losing a best friend during heart bypass surgery, my mum passing after a short battle with Alzheimer's, which moved lightning fast. I was having a rather rocky time with an ex-wife who was intent on upsetting my current life, and my son died in my arms again through a heart attack, and a very close father-in-law, father to my mad ex, was painfully taken from us by liver failure. Not a good time, and it went on with me being in and out of work due to health issues, in and out of therapy for 15 months due to character and personality changes, memory issues, many major arguments based around my imagined or forgotten conversations. I also seem to be in and out of what was once a happy family life. Teaching had stopped due to not being able to keep track of what I was teaching anymore, my brain flatly refusing to do as it was told, which basically put students' futures at risk, and being unforgiving students on the whole, they quickly pick up on any weakness, so stopping was a no-brainer. It did create odd funny moments, like students explaining they'd not done their homework because they they thought I would forget I'd set it. I'd also chosen to stop driving because I felt I was a risk to myself and others, and that in turn had meant having to stop the camping and fishing I enjoyed as my relaxation, just when I needed it most. Life was basically being thrown up in the air and then collapsing in a heap, dragging others down as well. My life was not a great place for either myself or anyone else around me, so many chose not to be anymore, for various reasons. I was feeling pretty much lost, both metaphorically and sometimes scarily in reality. Finally, it got far too much for family, and I was grudgingly persuaded to see the GP and start getting my head sorted through therapy, and also to get memory testing done. For a few years, the memory tests were far too simple and easily passed, and I gladly accepted the view that it was stress, etc., due to all the traumas in my life over the preceding years. But eventually, when I'd driven everyone away or to distraction and had regularly failed the tests, it was taken seriously. However, it was not until May 2014 that a proper level of investigation started, covering in-depth written, graphical, audio, vocal and mathematical cognitive tests, many blood and other stuff tests, head scans and a near 3 hour chat session with a psychiatric nurse, and finally in January 2015 I was told by the mental health team that I had mixed dementia. I was quickly given some leaflets, a prescription for donepezil, promised a follow-up call once the news had sunk in, and then dispatched being told, "We'll see you in a year." Yeah, right, okay, thanks. I had an emotional rollercoaster couple of weeks. On the one hand, feeling pleased that at last I'd been listened to and now had a reason for my odd behaviour. I also hit some bad lows and dark places and kicked the odd tree in fear, anger and frustration. But I came through it all by deciding to get on with finding and living a new life. That thought, coupled with my get out there and make it happen nature, has paid off big time, with a fantastic network of friends, supporters, watchers, and I busied myself with being proactive and finding help, support, things to do, places to go, and have since then filled my time with council health walks about 4 times a week, therapy groups, social groups, support groups, action groups, dementia cafes, giving and getting online advice and support, being involved with speaking events like this, giving training sessions about dementia in care homes, research projects, the odd, sometimes very odd trips to doctors and hospitals, battles with Tesco and Aldi, but mostly having fun adventures which I now very successfully worldwide blog about to people living with dementia, carers and healthcare professionals in over 100 different countries. The blog is very well received, which I hope is because they love my honest, open, off-the-wall, irreverent, twisted but insightful views and approach to living well with dementia, and the fact that I still enjoy my life and thrive on the pluses I still have. Gladly, I get a lot of requests to use the content for training purposes from healthcare professionals, but mostly it's positive comments from those caring for loved ones, as it helps them understand more and separate the person from the dementia, a vital distinction for the survival of us all. One of the talks I was asked to give was to the Medway DAA, where I was asked to speak about my views of a better Medway, and it's a message I would like to repeat a bit of here. If you are trying to take dementia into account for any future plans, I would say this. Please start by bearing in mind that the rule books in all walks of life are written for the usual, the commonplace, the average, and we no longer live in that world, or maybe I should say no longer fit in that world. What is obvious to the majority is not to us. What is clear as day to the many is not to us. What always happens is not to us. Almost any assumption based upon the way things have always been in the past will undoubtedly be a wrong assumption when applied to us, the ever-growing population living with dementia. Clear as day, I'm afraid, looks as clear as mud. Always to others is sometimes or even never to us. Blindingly bright white to the many is unfortunately invisible to many of us. A warning of use caution will actually mean don't do it to someone whose judgment is mangled by dementia. Things are not always obvious, and what works today will probably not work tomorrow. Yeah, it's a pain and a problem. Do I expect the world to be changed to fit me? No. Just give me help, time, understanding. Getting angry or frustrated or talking louder at me just worsens the situation. If you cannot think of how to resolve a situation, have the patience to ask, and we will probably find a great solution together. I'm still me. I'm still capable. I just need help to find other ways to thrive in what is now a different looking and often difficult world to me. After the speech, I was asked if it was okay for the DAA to put that part of the talk up on their website, which I obviously agreed to. I thought it was for the local Medway DAA site, but it went on the national site and was quickly picked up by others, particularly the City of Bath, who wanted to talk about how they were now inspired to try and be more dementia aware. So thank you DAA for that opportunity. I became involved with the Medway DAA as it has a reputation as an organisation that does things rather than just talks about them. I like doing. Now, briefly, because you have already been a wonderfully patient and attentive audience, I'll try and be nice to you. I wish to just mention some of the daily around town issues that give me headaches, again, metaphorically and actually. Some physical, some mental, but all emotional. A few quick bits of information about my vascular dementia and how it often puts me on an emotional roller coaster, which means I can get very upset by the smallest problem. Added to this, I exist in a very black or white, good or bad, right or wrong, very happy or very sad, ultra chilled or explosively angry, but to me, very real mental world. One extreme or the other, no grey areas. And obviously, with the real world, your world, my ex-world, being totally made upon shades of grey, is it okay to make such a reference these days, especially with the next film just out? This effect of only black or white then creates issues that others often cannot see because it's happening inside my head, and therefore they cannot be expected to empathise with me, which in turn generates an emotional response in me which could be construed as poor or challenging behaviour. Now we have a bigger problem. My senses, as well as my common sense, can be greatly messed with. Bright lights dazzle. Loud sound distorts. Quiet sound does not register. Font types and sizes and colours merge into blobs. Crowds cause anxiety. Rapid movement confuses the visuals. Too many conversations confuse the audio. Background sounds block the foreground. Sudden sounds hurt. And only 3 or 4, or perhaps on a good day 5 or 6 at tops pieces of information can be held at any moment, and none will be retained unless written or recorded at that time. And if you do not get my attention to start with, I do not even register you're talking to me, so will not capture any of the information. All of these silly little issues then complicate my daily life. So hold those thoughts in your mind and think on the effect that may have on these things in my days. Busy roads, crowded shops, tannoy system announcements, newspapers, books, magazines, multi-split TV screens, cinema speaker systems, unlit stairways, people not looking at me when speaking, automated telephone choice system, sheets of typed information on paper, official letters, programs with advert breaks, dramas spread over time periods, flashing signs, small labels, multiple choices about anything, jobs worth logic, pop-up advertising, and throwaway comments like "in a minute" or "soon." What's that supposed to mean to someone in a black or white world? Then we also have bus stops without numbers, buses that change number, even worse, buses that leave the stop ahead of scheduled time. All fairly trivial things in the real world, but I do not live there anymore. Thankfully, because of having groups like the DAA, people working with local companies to raise awareness and get things changed, a constant change for the better is happening, and the number of issues keeps declining. But then the nature of the beast is that it keeps changing, so we must keep fighting. Thank you, Arriva, for joining the Medway DAA, making changes and helping to protect my independence. Despite all those potential hiccups, I have a great life, freedom, lots of independence, and a raft of coping strategies and people to support that independence. I'm good with technology. My phone has become my lifeline, my link to continued independence. It's used to keep me on target with text reminders sent to me from GPs, pharmacy, dentists, sight tests, hearing tests, diary reminders about where I should be and when, coupled with an online diary and a free tracking system on my phone that a friend uses to see where I am, where I should be, and he can then contact me if the two do not tie up. I think my working life in IT has sort of helped, as I'm very confident and capable with technology. Thus the tablet with the talk on, so I can change the font size or colour to suit my requirements on the day. I have a laptop and my smartphone full of apps with maps, timetables, reminders, notes, audio recorder, phone call recorder, photos, my tracker and beacon, a get me home button in a bus map app, and my bus pass all mean I don't so much live well with dementia, it's more like I live better with dementia, as I have the time and enthusiasm to get out there and do stuff. I do brain training exercises on my laptop and phone every day that keep me sharp and also give me clues as to what I may struggle with today. I use the phone as my alarm in the morning, and it then links to my calendar, prompts me about what I need to be doing in an hour's time, suggests I take my morning meds. I have a whiteboard on my fridge and freezer, which lists the things that should be in there. I cross off what I use, then the list helps me build my new monthly shopping list, which I type on the laptop and it sends the complete list to my phone, ready to be crossed off as I put things in the trolley while at the shops. I use my laptop to check email. Laptop post-it note on the screen reminds me to check my notice board and whiteboard in the kitchen. These are where I write up the days, weeks and months activities and notes about them, and also pin any letters etc. that are relevant to this week. The notice board also has a list of phone numbers in case my phone is out of action for any reason. It's not always sweetness and light, due to the vascular occasionally throwing major spanners in the works and making a day almost impossible, sometimes to the point where I do not feel safe enough to even risk stepping outside the door, and at times I have run-ins with people, buses, systems, the establishment, understanding the world now, but so do ordinary people, and my average week more than makes up for the odd nightmare days. However, my ways of coping will break down, and I will need more and more of your professional awareness, caring, understanding, and innovative thinking to prolong my independence, which is why I grab every opportunity now to help increase everyone's awareness, thus helping my future. I've always been one to pick up the banner and fight for what I believe is right, and dementia did not steal that away from me, made it 10 times stronger. Today it is to work with you, to raise awareness and help you make the world a better, safer, friendlier and more comfortable place for people living with dementia. We all count. We can all make a difference. But you're on the front line, minute by minute. You're in a position to actually make a real difference to a person's day. I hope that what you see here is a confident, eloquent, intelligent person that's telling you they have dementia, fairly badly at times. I also hope that you're finding that picture a little hard to accept, because everything looks and seems so normal. That sums up the problem for us all. This is a very hidden menace. So please, let us continue and build on what we do have happening here today, this minute, which is working together, sharing ideas to build a brighter future for us all. So if you or your organisation are not already members of the DAA, watch out. During question time this afternoon, I will be asking you, why not? Anyway, it's a good job I got medically retired, as I have no time for work. I'm far too busy. Now, if I could only remember how to turn the phone on. Anyway, thank you very much.